Hi there, Algebra 1, 3.7, absolute value equations and inequalities. Okay? Objective, solve equations and inequalities involving the absolute value. Solving an absolute value equation. So, what are the solutions of x plus 2, or absolute value of x plus 2 equals 9. So, graph your solution. So, you have x in absolute value plus 2x equals 9. So, we subtract 2, we get x in absolute value equals 7. So, the two values that we can implement in here, well, if I put negative 7 in there, it has to come out positive, so that would work. Or also regular 7 would just come out as 7 also. To graph that, you go negative 7, put a dot. You can only equal that, and go over here, make a 7, put a dot. That's all you have to do for that first. Okay. Let's do the next one. Okay. What are the solutions of absolute value of n minus 5 equals negative 2? You have absolute value n minus 5 equals negative 2. Add 5, add 5. What you do to one side, you must do the other. We're at that point. Okay, we end up with positive 3. So absolute value of n equals positive 3. Okay, once again, we can have a negative 3 because if we put a negative in there, it has to come out positive. Or we can have regular 3, graph it. You get negative 3, dot there, and a 3 here. There we go. We have something going on here now. Okay. Solving in our absolute value equations. To solve an equation in the form A, absolute value of A equals B, where A represents a variable expression and B is greater than or equal to, solve, you can get A equals B, or you can get A equals negative B. And that is true as we just showed. Okay, starting from 100 feet away, your friend skates towards you and then passes by you. She skates at a constant rate of 20 feet per second. Her distance from you in feet after t seconds is given by d equals the absolute value of 100 minus 20t. At what point is she 40 feet away from you? So at one point she's going to be behind you. You're going to be here. You're both skating like this. And she's going to be 40 feet away from you. At another point, she's going to pass you, and she's going to be a positive number ahead of you. That is what this absolute value will give you. Now, we're working with time, but if we use an absolute value, we know that no matter what, this will give our absolute value should give us a positive number, or we should reject it. To get rid of the absolute value, you're going to do a negative 40 and a positive 40. And we'll get into that a little bit more here in a second. So, if I minus 100 from this side, I have to do it from this side. Obviously, when I do the negative 40 and a positive 40, these will disappear. Okay? So then I don't have them grouping signs. I have negative 60 equals negative 20t. Divide by negative 20. Divide by negative 20. I get t equals 3 seconds. Okay? Then the next one, we're going to have negative 40 equals 100 minus 20t. minus 100, minus 100, gone, negative 140 equals negative 20t. Got to divide by that negative 20. What we do to one side, we must do the other. T equals negative 140 divided by negative 20, and we should get 7. So it should either be 3 seconds or 7 seconds in this case. Okay. Now, solving absolute equation with no solution. Okay. The one thing you can figure this out very quickly on, okay, when we're going to solve this, I do not want to break the absolute value. That's like having parentheses around it. So I'm first going to minus 12. Minus 12. Okay, I'm going to get 3, absolute value of 2z plus 9 equals negative 2. Okay, at this point, can we say we're done? Well, not quite, because I want to make sure that this number over here is going to stay negative, or if it'll go positive. At this point, I have negative 2/3. Can an absolute value ever give me a negative number? No, that's the whole point of putting it in absolute values, so it doesn't happen. So because this takes place, this would be a no solution. Okay? Now we have the other problem, in which case we are going to do this one. You have absolute value 3x minus 6 minus 5 equals negative 7, right? Add 5, add 5. We end up getting 3x minus 6 in the absolute values equals negative 2. Can we have that? No, we cannot have a negative number again. So this one would be no solution. Okay, some rules here. Solving absolute value inequality. Solve an inequality in the form absolute value A is less than B, where A is a variable expressed and B is 0. Solve the compound inequality. Negative B is less than A, which is less than B. Okay, if you remember, that only happens when you have an and statement. If you read the next one, to solve an inequality in the form of absolute value A is greater than B, A is a variable expression, and B is greater than 0, solve the compound inequality. A is less than negative B, or A is greater than B. And your rules are similar for the greater than or equal to or less than or equal to 2. They follow the same one. If your equation is less than, once again, if your equation is less than, so if your absolute value is less than a number, it is going to be an and statement. I should know that before I even do the problem. If my absolute value is greater than the number to follow, or the rest of it, then it will be an or statement. And that is very important in Algebra 2. And you're all saying, well, why do I care about Algebra 2? I'm not saying you have to care about it. I'm saying that this is something you're going to see again. This is something you might want to store in your brain. So, if absolute value is less than B, it is an and statement, which means they go together. If absolute value is greater than the rest of it, then it becomes an OR statement, which means they will go apart from each other. So this first one, just looking at it, I should know that my absolute value is greater than that. So that should tell me this would be an OR statement. What are the solutions? Okay, now the other thing about this is we have 8n in absolute value is greater than or equal to 24. To get rid of that absolute value, it's just like that one equation we did earlier. You have 8n is greater than or equal to 24. The other thing you would have to do is you'd have 8n. You'd have to flip the sign because we're going to make this negative, so flip your sign. And it should look like that. Divide by 8, divide by 8. You get n is less than or equal to 3. Over here, you divide by 8, divide by 8. You should get n is less than or equal to negative 3. We go graph that, let's say, just out of curiosity. We have negative 3 here, filled in. N is less than, shade it this way. You got 3 over here. N is greater than, shade away. Like I said, we know that's an OR statement. Okay. Once again, this next one. Is it an AND statement or is it an OR statement? Just trying to get you ready for Algebra 2. Well, on this case, I would say that it would be an OR statement again. So we have 2x plus 4, absolute value, is greater than or equal to 5. Okay, to get rid of the absolute values, we leave that one alone. We go, the other one would be 2n plus 4 is less than or equal to negative 5. Subtract 4, you end up with 2n, or 2x is less than or equal to negative 9. Divide by 2, and x is less than or equal to negative 9 over 2. Over here, we're going to minus 4. We're going to get 2x is greater than or equal to 1. Divide by 2, divide by 2. We're going to get x is greater than or equal to 1/2. Those are my two solutions for that one. A company makes boxes of crackers that should weigh 213 grams. A quality control inspector randomly selects boxes 2A. Any box that varies from the weight more than 5 grams is sent back. What is the range allowed weights for a box of crackers? So we can be -5, right? We can be 5 below, right? So I'm going to have -5, and that's going to be less than or equal to, okay? In this case, the weight, to know if it fits in here, is going to be x. We don't know what it is, but it's going to be minus 213 because this weight is got to either be the same thing or it's got to be, once you subtract this, between this value and this value. Okay? We know how to solve this. We'd add 213. Add 213. Add 213. Boom. X is gone. Greater than or equal to. This would be 208. This would be 218. There we go. Now X has got to sit in between those weights. You have about 10 grams in which it can fluctuate. There's your homework.